How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday. Whoa, sorry. I'm just checking my levels here, getting used to the setup. Um, yeah, so it wasn't. Who knew we were gonna stream today? I didn't know. I actually thought I had a couple more minutes to get kind of psyched into it, but let me just check my volume levels. Hold on one second. I can't see. I thought I had a couple more minutes, but I forgot that on this setup, I don't have the trailers. Sorry. I don't have the comic book trailers on this setup. Sorry, my volume is weird on this level. But if you just noticed, I got a new camera setup here. It's better now, right? That's part of the reason why I wanted to stream, because I was like, I got a setup where I could get a better camera on this computer on my quote-unquote basement side. So it looks a little bit better. It's not as good as my other setup, but it's definitely an improvement than it was. So I'm pretty excited about that. I wanted to test it out. I wasn't sure if the parts that I had ordered were going to come, and they came this afternoon. So I spent a little bit of the afternoon setting it up and getting it, making sure it worked, and it works great. And it looks way better than it did the first time I streamed from this side of the room. And then I also, the exciting thing, I mean, the reason why I stream on this side is because I'm drawing. If you guys remember, I was doing the master study on the Mike ZECK page. Well, ever since I did that one stream with the Mike ZECK page, I've been so jazzed about it. I've been so excited about getting back to it. So I actually have been noodling on this page most of the day and a little bit the other night. And so, yeah, I'm almost done with the rough pencils, and I'm going to finish up some details probably tonight. That's what I'm just going to spend the time doing today. And then I also ordered some inking supplies, so I'm pretty excited to get to that stage. I mean, I'm going to do some tighter pencils today, but they got pretty tight. I'll show you guys in a second. So yeah, it just kind of snowballed really quickly, just this drawing aspect of it. And I can't wait to get to the finishes on this page because, like I had mentioned last stream, that's one of the more exciting stages for me, is seeing the finished ink line on this. And I bought some supplies. I was doing all this research about comic book inking supplies and digging through my old supplies today. So there was a lot of like figuring out what I had to buy new, buying some new supplies, reusing some old stuff. Same with the tech setup. So just a whole bunch of different things. But the final straw on the camel's back was I got a comment from good old Cranberry Langers.
This is a cranberry full of power.
Got a comment from him earlier today asking if I was going to stream today. And I was like, no, I'm not going to stream because I streamed on Wednesday. We did that great stream with Adam, which was super fun for me to rewatch and just kind of listen to his interview. And just to do that was really fun. So I was like, I don't think so. And I hadn't gotten the equipment that I needed, the extra equipment to get this camera set up. So that would be the only thing I would think of streaming. But then it all came together, like I just mentioned. So then I was like, well, Cranberry was asking, so maybe I should stream. So got back from dinner and then decided, oh, what the heck, I'm going to do it. So thank you, Cranberry, for that extra little push. That was really, it was good. It's good. It gets me streaming more. There we are, Cranberry Landers. And he was the first in the chat too. Let me try and adjust this a little bit. Adjust your name so it's not so weirdly cropped. Or maybe if I do this and then shrink it a little bit. Yeah. Too small. A little bit small. But he was first in the chat. So welcome, Cranberry Landers. Just causing all sorts of havoc today. Showing up first in chat. Ribbing me to stream. All good. All good. And then Comrade Sammy is here. Yo, just me and you. Cram. Some of my favorite people. There you go. I wonder. Oh. Emo Trash says, you at this hour. Guess what, Emo Trash? Are you ready? Are you listening? Are you listening for this? Here we go. The debut. Wait, I don't like this on my face. The debut, Emo Trash. There you go. Derailer in stream. She's got her own sound now. There you go. I think it's you, and we'll see if the other person shows up. Who I was able to do 2 more sound effects, so you were definitely one of it. Here we go. One more for the road. I hope you like that. You really guilt trip Rocky into streaming tonight? I'm proud. I'm so easily manipulated by everybody. What's going on? It was good seeing a lot of you guys yesterday too in Shant's stream. That was a fun one. I actually wasn't at home. I was streaming it from my phone yesterday, and so that's why during the chat I accidentally. I don't know if I put you in timeout, Emo Trash, or I blocked some of a comment that you posted yesterday, but it was total apologies. I didn't mean it at all, but it's really hard to kind of chat quickly and watch the stream at the same time just on a little phone screen. So that's what happened. I accidentally did something. I was like, oh no, and I was like quickly trying to undo it, and everybody's like, you can undo it, Rocky. So anyway, that was a great movie that we were watching. I don't even remember what the title was of the movie yesterday. But that was a great movie. Really bizarre, but really fun. It was a fun plot. And that movie is definitely the kind of movie that is great to watch with a bunch of people who have like peanut gallery comments. So I loved it. I had a good time with that one. So happy it's good for your channel, Rocky. Yes, it is. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the encouragement. Sounds good to me, Rocky. Awesome. And it is still technically Friday for me. It is, not for some of you guys. Oh yeah, I realize East Coasters, it isn't. And God bless you for being awake this late. That's awesome. New setup is evident. You sound all right, man. Awesome. Perfect. Great. And it looks better too. Man, I watched that previous stream, the last stream that I did from this setup, and I was like, oh, it just pained me to look at that camera. This one is not as high quality camera as the other one that I have, but it's definitely better than the built-in FaceTime camera I was using before. Oi! Awesome one! What's up with you?
Yes, that's awesome!
How are you doing? Thanks for coming. Awesome one is here. Been jumping between Aldous and Gray, who stream from Japan. Oh, wow. So when do you sleep? Do you ever sleep, Awesome One? You're like... all of you guys, when do you guys sleep? I think I sleep late. I definitely sleep late, and I usually have to wake up somewhat early in the mornings. So I'm oftentimes tired during the day, but I have no idea when you guys sleep. When I try and piece together your time zones, or at least the time zones I think I know, and how often and how faithful I see you guys on stream, I don't know where sleep fits in there. It's really weird. So you guys are crazy. Crazy zombies, all of you. Back to the basement camera, that's right. Maybe I should have like a special frame. I'll think about it, like a border frame, like I'm in the basement or something. Even though it's literally just one seat over. Actually, my cat is sitting in my other chair, so... he's asleep for the night. No bugging me at the door. He's fed and ready to go to bed. Emo Trash says, funny, I'm doing some late night sketching as I saw your notification myself. This is perfect. This is perfect. Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of tighten up or finish the rest of the little details on this one with you guys. And oops, let me silence that. For this piece, because it's close. It's close to being ready to be inked. Watch them take even longer to get to chat. It's possible because it's later in the evening. And stop baiting me like that, Emo Trash. That's where the derailing starts. I know your ways. Awesome One says, I was about to watch the China show about how messed up China is, but Rocky is on. Yeah, I think this is better. I think this is better for you to watch this. I think the video goes members only in 24 hours. Oh, the video you just posted? What is this? Can I even see this? I can't grab the link from Ecamm. I'd have to go to YouTube and get it. All right, I'll think about it. That will quickly derail me. Here we go. Cranberry Lane says, working out today, I'm going to be shaving my head during the stream. Wow. Okay. You should stream shaving your head. That would be interesting, maybe. Oh, I saw a stream. I was out to dinner today, and I got a notification for a stream starting up. It was Shelby. I was like, oh, cool, Shelby's streaming. And I started watching it. I was like, Roblox. It was in the title. And then and he was literally live streaming playing Roblox. And I busted out laughing. And I had to turn up the audio a little bit because I was like, what is going on? And I'm pretty sure he was doing it with his daughter. So it was really cute, really funny. I'm going to have to go back. I didn't get to see but just a small clip of it, but I'm going to have to go back and watch the whole thing because I'm sure he had hilarious commentary going on. But that's not what I was expecting for a Friday night stream from Shelby. But it was good times. So maybe, yeah, head shaving stream, Cranberry. Emo Trash says, I was literally just blasting Holding Out for a Hero from Shrek 2 into my eardrums until okay. All right. That also, maybe it's a good thing you saw my notification. The audio for the sound effects are a little low, Rocky. Okay, I'll put them up a little bit. We can do that. Especially since I'm on this setup, the audio is a little less complicated on here. So, how about this?
This is a cranberry full of power.
Is that better? Let me know. Awesome. Emo Trash loves the sound effect. I'm glad. Was that an Oxenfree sound clip? I don't know what is it. What is Oxenfree sound clip? Oh, thank you. You already quickly answered my question. Oxenfree is a great despair game of zero hope. Oh, man. No, I don't. It wasn't. It's just a train crashing. That's all. I didn't even notice you moderating me or whatever, but sure, I can choose to be upset about it now if you want. Yeah, I know. Oh, you mean last night. Yeah, it was... I guess they have it like you can put them in timeout or something, but I saw like your comment disappear, and then it said you blocked or silenced Emo Trash, and I was like, oh no, what did I do? Like report to YouTube or I don't know. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was freaking out. 4 a.m. Oh my goodness. Wait, 4 a.m. Oh yeah. Oh geez. Wait, no, 4 a.m. That would be 1 a.m. if I went to sleep. 4 a.m. for East Coasters. Sleep is for the weak. Yep, I tell people I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's usually what I tell them. You know, we'll have plenty of time to sleep. The great sleep at the end of life. Too much life to live. All of you guys are horrible. Cranberry says, I sleep about 7 to 5 hours a night. Either you're dyslexic or you are in reverse time or you're lying. I usually get, dare I say this out loud, I usually get about five hours of sleep. That's not good. That's definitely not good. Something internally is happening when you don't get, something bad is internally happening when you don't get 5 hours of sleep. I feel great, but then I like pass out like a log whenever I put my head down. Oh my gosh. Shame, I think John might be the one who's currently asleep, but as chaotic as schedule, and he might pop in if we go late enough. That's right, we might catch him on the other end. I figured like Mark's music obsession would be out, and John probably. Stream shaving my head, that has nothing to do with comics. Yeah, and you know what? Arguably, a lot of the stuff that I stream has nothing to do with comics either, so I think you can do it. You can just do whatever you want, Cranberry Rangers. I would watch you stream your head live. I mean, you shave your head live. I'd watch it. It'd be weird, but I'd watch it. I'd hide my window anytime somebody knocked on my door, but I'd watch it. John stays up to like 12 on Saturdays, which is I forgot what coast John was on. He's not on the West Coast, so. Shelby glitched out of the game and his daughter quit the stream. Oh, okay. So you watched it. Hey, what's up, Unhinged? How you doing, Jason? How you be, man? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Audio is perfect now for the sound effects. Awesome. Unhinged, aloha. It's good to see you, Unhinged. You've been streaming. You've been doing a lot of joint streams with people I've been seeing. It's awesome, and obviously always drawing like crazy. So good for you. Good inspiration for me. This is a stream. I will have some drawing this time. Most of the streams that I think you've popped in have been just more me talking about comics or reviewing comics, sharing comics. But this stream, I call it a master study. I'd only done one before. So yeah, it's good to have you here, and would love to hear your thoughts on it. Maybe you just blocked yourself from seeing my comments. I don't know what I did. It definitely felt like I stepped on a rake and like smacked my face when it happened. All right, let's see. No, 5 hours is usually not enough to flush. Yeah, see, there we go. Thanks a lot, Cranberry. Dose of reality. It's okay. So I just keep all the toxins inside. Keeps my heart beating. John naps around now. He might be up again around 2 to 3 East Coast time is where we are. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe John just does like, what do you call it? It's not intermittent fasting. Intermittent sleeping maybe is what John does. Well, indeed. Hope you're as well as well. I am. Even better now that you're here. Granberry Lander says, bad for your mental and physical health. That explains a lot, actually. Greater likelihood of heart issues. Man, you're bumming me out now, dude. And you were the one who encouraged me to stream now, so I don't know how to take this.
This is a cranberry full of power.
All right, cool. So check it out. This is where I'm at with this page. I did notice some problems. All right, let me get a bigger screen here. So consistently, as you can see, I kind of tightened it up more on the just the forms and the details and stuff as I was drawing it. But I noticed pretty consistently, I drew everything maybe like 15% bigger than the actual page. And I don't know if it was that's just my brain translating it larger, what it was, I don't know. But everything just kind of scaled up a little bit as I was drawing it. And as I was noticing, I'm like, oh, I'm a little tight on that page. Or I'm hitting the border earlier here. What's going on? And then it would adjust something else. I actually had to redraw this head smaller than it originally was, which was a pain because it was pretty tight before. That's why I busted out the red pencil here, because I had drawn it in blue and erased it again and started drawing it in blue again. One thing about these color erase pencils, which is great and which makes them so good to sketch in, is they're softer than regular lead. And so, it allows you to get looser and rougher quicker. But there is kind of a waxiness to the pencil lead. And the more that you work it into a page, the more it kind of adds that waxiness to the page. So even if you erase, like, say I erase this whole section, I started drawing over it, you'd still feel kind of the waxiness in it. So that's why I switched to the red. The Tuscan red here, because this one has a little bit of different, I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just the chemical composition of the colors, but this has a different waxy feel residue than this blue. The blue has a lot. It's like it feels like a softer pencil. And so in order to redraw the head, I had to start drawing it in red here. Then I started drawing this panel in red, and this panel I had to redraw in red. This is what I was saying last stream, that it's like, if you change to a few different colors using color erase pencils, it starts looking like a bruise once you're done with the page. That's right. Oh my gosh. Sleep greatly impact. It's true. It really is true. And I've heard that message so much during my life because my sleep habits now, although they are not as crazy as they used to be, like when I was in college, say, my sleep habits now are very similar still. I'm a night owl, especially if I get some sort of like artistic inspiration or something like gets me excited, watching a TV show or reading a comic or drawing on something, and I catch a second wind, then I could stay up pretty late and kind of forget that I need to go to bed. And then when I go to bed, I just crash. So yeah. But I have heard, people have always told me, it's like, you better get sleep. You know, it's really good for your health, and all the things that Cranberry just listed. I've heard it, and I know I'm gonna die of like a heart attack or something because I just don't sleep enough. Also, one says, I do have a racing heart sometimes and wake up as it makes my tinnitus scream very loud. Oh man, you have tinnitus? Oof, that does not sound, no pun intended, good. Or maybe a pun was intended. This is dope. Unhinged says, thank you, sir. So yeah, what I'm doing, and what I decided, I had explained it last stream for the first time that I did this. Let me just make sure this is a little bit straighter. The reason why I'm doing this is just to, like, you know, study the masters. I used to do this all the time in college, or we had to do these with painters. I had mentioned a painter last time, that one of my projects as a freshman, I had to do a master study of a painter. I thought it was Jacob Lawrence. It wasn't Jacob Lawrence. It was Joseph Stella. I looked it up after stream. Joseph Stella, if you guys do a search, he used to do these like beautiful paintings of like the bridges in New York. Very abstract, but anyway, that was the artist that I did my master study, had to do a master study assignment for. So what I'm doing here, though, is just to do a master study of different comic book artists that I love and specific pages that they've done, just to dissect like why I love it, what works, how they're telling a story, what techniques they're using, and just go through the process of like blocking out the page, setting up the panels, roughing in the drawings, tightening up the pencils, and then eventually taking it to a final ink stage. So last stream, I got most of the blocking in. The chat, those of you who were there saw me block in, for the most part, the whole page. And then between then and now, I've just been tightening it up on the side and like adjusting some things and going in and rescaling, readjusting things. But it's a trip too, when just the distance, the visual distance from here to here, and comparing the two pages. When I would take the page and like go close here, I would realize how off I was with scale in particular. Like I said, most of it, I would say, if you overlaid the two pages over it, I'm probably like 10 to 15% larger than the original. Like you can definitely see it in this leg here. Like this leg got huge because my foot was falling off the trim line. I was like, well, how did that happen? And then I was comparing scale and I realized like I was drawing everything too big. This arm is a little bit shorter than it is originally here. This arm is a little bit shorter. This arm here, this elbow's like bleeding off the page, when you can see like there's even 2 bars more here that I can't even fit on. So yeah, I can't even see his like abs here. They're getting cut off. So yeah, just stuff like that. I just realized like, wow, I'm really off. So I'm hoping in the process of doing these kind of master studies and doing them more regularly, that I can hone some of that stuff, can adjust the bad tendencies I have in my own artwork, learn from the masters, learn how they do certain things that they do. And then also realize like where my style, where my strengths fit in. And, I definitely am going to be simplifying things more so than some artists are, and adjusting things as I go. And just finding that balance of like, how close do I want it to be, or how close is good enough? Like after I shrunk this head, I realized I could have shrunk it a little bit more. If I had done this digitally, it would have been an easy adjust, but it's a lot harder when it's like, oh, I finished tightening the pencils, and now I gotta shrink it down another 3%. I'm like, ah, dang, do I want to erase it? Do I want to redraw it? Then I'm like, it's good enough. Like, it's not worth that extra effort. So yeah, this is where we are with this page. Pretty excited how it's turning out though, and I'm really, really excited to take it to inks. El Chung, what's up, dude? What's going on here? I'm doing a master study of, or you probably just heard me explain it, of this page. It's the original Mike ZECK page from Punisher book. Punisher issue 1, page 23, says it right there. I got this from this artist edition, a Mike ZECK artist edition. Mike ZECK's one of my faves, for sure, as a comic artist. Did great runs on like Captain America, Punisher, G.I. Joe, amazing G.I. Joe covers, Secret Wars. Yeah, Mike ZECK is so good. So I just picked one of his pages in this artist edition because it's at size and you can really see the artwork well, and decided to try and recreate it on my side here. Unhinged says, I like the look of the red over the blue. Me too. I really do love it. I love that mixture of colors. There's something about it. Like, I even remember looking at like animation drawings, because that's where I learned about color erase pencils and all that. Like, when animators would work on their animation drawings, they'd pick one color one day, another color another day, or they'd do corrections with a different color or whatever. Just that like combination of colors was really cool. So I like it too. Unhinged is saying, yo, El Chung, what are you doing up, El Chung? We're gonna have breakfast tomorrow. So what are you doing up, dude? Whole Vampire Squad is slowly pulling up. That's right. El Chat Rocky's gonna be sleep deprived thanks to Cranberry. That's what's happening. That is what happening. I stayed up to 2 a.m. yesterday reading a comic book. Got up at 5:20. What comic book did you read? What kept you up? I will admit there are some times that I will sit down and read a comic book and I will pass out while I'm reading it. It's probably because I'm overtired. I was definitely one of those kids. This is why I say this has been the way I've been my whole life. Because my mom will always tell this story about, I think I was in a shopping cart when I was a kid. Something happened and I fell and hit my head, and some red stuff came out of my mouth, and they were freaking out. They thought it was blood or whatever. And what actually happened was I just passed out, and that was like the juice I was drinking. I was drinking juice and I passed out and hit my head, and I didn't wake up. That probably explains a lot. No, I'm not. I don't have narcolepsy, but yeah, I was definitely one of those kids that were overtired all the time, I think. El Chung says, nah, sleep schmeat. Agreed. Just like sleep, English is only optional in these parts. I figure you guys, you YouTubers, man, you guys that love your YouTube, that jump on all these channels, you guys are all late sleepers for sure. Because these streams are going all the time. I know, Jason, Unhinged, I know you're streaming all hours of the day. I've seen you. K-Pop's another one. I wouldn't be surprised if she pops in here. She's another one that's up all hours of the night streaming. So it's a thing. Comes with the territory, I guess. This is no easy task. Looks great. ZECK is so good and you're nailing it. Thank you so much, Unhinged. I appreciate that. Yeah, he has such an amazing command. Why I love Mike ZECK so much, and just doing this one page just confirmed all what I had already knew about his stuff. Is he has such a command of like anatomy and drawing it in such a dynamic way, no matter what's like, I mean, Punisher's getting shot here. He's being surprised and shot here in prison, covered in a cloth blanket, and it's so dynamic. I mean, this leg is like popping out, like literally popping off the frame, and his face and expression, and like this guy is this is Punisher, and he's presumably dead because they just shot him, but this is so cool, so dynamic, such an understanding of anatomy, And he really just embodied that Marvel style of drawing poses. And then he was a great storyteller on top of all that. And he just had like a not like, I don't want to say like an aggression, but just like a primal sense in the way that he drew that I loved. But it was so fluid. And Shant even commented to me, I think he even texted me one day when we were talking about Mike ZECK, and he was saying like it feels like this he could have been like a Disney animator kind of style. And it's true, because there's like an elegance to ZECK's work, even though it's so aggro at times. There's definitely an elegance and a dynamism in his drawing. And yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful work. And big shout out to the inker John Beatty, who did a lot of the inks on Punisher, and a lot of he's collaborated a lot with Mike ZECK, so he's great. Like such a beautiful finish to his work. Looks great. Thank you guys. Thank you. Looks good though. I think we're both equally struggling. This morning I woke myself up from a nightmare. I usually wake up to avoid the madness. It's good habit. Awesome one says I worked nights for 10 years. Maybe that's why. Maybe all of you guys work like night shifts or something. Cranberry Lander says, I was reading the abandoned Reincarnation Sage. Wow, I've never heard of that. It's an isekai reincarnation themed fantasy book. Wow, that sounds cool. I should share this out so K-pop may just pop up. Yeah, I'm up out hours. I think most artists favor the night. Yeah, it's quiet. Yeah, the noise of the day, the demands of the day are asleep. All the normal people are asleep. All the weirdos come out to draw. But thanks for sharing that out, Jason. Night is peaceful, often unlike the typical artist. There we go. My friend Wes is streaming now. He used to hang out with Nerdrotic before he became famous. He's playing Zelda. Cool. So, yeah, people playing video games too late night. All right, so let me just finish. There's a few things I need to finish. I've been debating whether or not I should do the lettering too, like include the word bubbles. I might, because I think that would be kind of a good practice as well. But I'll decide after I'm done with the last few details that I want to add to this page. So what I do have to add are, at least at this phase, I got to draw in all these freaking perspective lines on this bed springs here and here. And then I want to tighten up a little bit on the cloth and stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do tonight. And hopefully I can finish it up and get it prepped. Tomorrow, some of my inking stuff should come in. And I'm debating also, I think I'm going to ink straight on top of this, which sounds crazy to me. I've always thought that was crazy for comic book artists that ink right on top of the pencils, because if you screw up, that's it. But I just figured these are master studies. They're just practice. Shouldn't be so precious with them. I don't know. If I don't, then what I'll do is scan it in, and then I don't know. Then what do I do? Scan it in. I guess I could scan in a copy of the pencils, and so I have that, and then ink on top. I don't know. What do you guys think? It just sounds crazy to me, because once you make a mistake, there's no undo, which that's cool. That's kind of the whole point. But also, then I have to start learning how to use correction. Correction white, if I screw up in the inks, which that would probably be good practice. So, I could do a horizon line. Let me get a bigger ruler. Oh, I found a great YouTube channel today. I just found it, just subscribed. Let me put the link to the channel in the chat. I don't know if you guys know the Pander Brothers. I had no idea that they had a YouTube channel. And they have been doing, I guess, a podcast for a year now. I don't know, but they're two brothers. They're two independent artists, and they got their big break on drawing Grendel, Matt Wagner's Grendel, way back in the like 80s. And I've always loved their rendition of Grendel. It had like this kind of 80s fashion drawing feel to it. It was like a little bit more graphic. I almost felt like it felt influenced by like, or either Aeon Flux was influenced it, or it influenced Aeon Flux. Like a Nagel. Do you guys remember the artist Nagel from the 80s? So 80s, that artist. Anyway, they have a YouTube channel, and they're just talking about the history of their career and like different milestones and stuff, and it's great. They're two brothers. Excuse me. Arnold and Jonas Pander, I think. And I also, maybe about 6 months ago, I got this, which I haven't read this graphic novel, but they had a graphic novel called XXX. Which they relaunched it and then re-released it, and it's called Dissident X now. But I haven't even read it yet, but I definitely wanted to pick up. But they have got a cool style, and I've always been fascinated because they're two brothers, and they both work together. So this stuff is this is more current and recent than the Grendel stuff that they did. But the Grendel stuff was a lot more raw and so indie, but I loved it. I really loved their version of Grendel and their whole take on it. It was a female Grendel that they worked on. So anyway, I found this YouTube channel today, and I've been watching their videos all day. I was actually thinking about watching it while I was drawing here tonight, but then I couldn't get the audio to work because my audio is a little bit, like I'd mentioned earlier, my audio is a little bit different on this setup than it is on my other setup. So I couldn't get it working properly. So I'll work on trying to get that. Oh, man. Should I count? I should count how many lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or I'm just making it up here. That's not good. I shouldn't just make it up. Actually, I think I have this first line off. Yeah, I definitely have this shorter, and hand should be lower. But yeah, check it out. Subscribe to their channel. They don't have that many subscribers, and I feel like it's because they must have just launched not too long ago, or people just know about them. But their stuff is high quality podcasts, and a big part of it is one of the Pander brothers is really into filmmaking, and so I think that just kind of lends itself to him pushing the production quality. Ugh, they just do. This is why I avoided working on this stuff, because I know I'm gonna screw it up. Okay, that's right. Oh, maybe I should I'm gonna try again. I always try this and then I regret it, but I'm gonna try and put a little bit of background music so that it's not so quiet while I'm drawing. That one has birds in it. Oh, is that the one I wanted to play? Maybe this one was it. Unhinged says, ink on top of it, go ham. I think the thing I love the most about your work, Jason, is that it's like you have no fear. You just attack is the way that I see you draw. Dang it, that's pretty loud. But I think it's just my volume in my ears and not for you guys. Is that okay? I always can't tell. Yeah. So this, on, not to get too technical, but on this setup, the mic control, the volume control is on the mic on this setup that I'm using here on this computer. But I can't see which one. One is the input, and then one is the headphone volume. And if I adjust the input, then my voice will be too low. If I adjust the headphone volume, it's just what I'm hearing here. So that's why I keep looking at my mic like that when I think it's too loud. Anyway, sorry. Bloop. Yeah, Jason, I think the way that you attack the page is so inspiring because it just seems like you have no fear. And if you know me, I tend to overthink things too much. And so that can kind of stumble me from just going for it. And like I was just saying earlier, like this is just a practice. It's not like it's my own page for a comic book I'm printing and that people are paying for. It's just for practice. So I think you're right. I think I will probably just ink straight on the page. But I have this bad habit of like making everything so precious or thinking everything is so precious and not just like going for it. Which being that cautious is good for certain things, but it's also not for a lot of things. But yeah, I'm going to take your advice, Jason. I'm going to go ham and I'm going to just go for it and ink on this page. What could go wrong? And I'm hoping too that the lessons, not only like the artistic lessons I'm learning as I do these kind of studies in the future, but also just the discipline of producing these pages, just getting it out there, not being too precious with them, like keeping the fine balance of like, of course I want to produce great art and stuff that people would want to buy, but also just like putting in the reps, you know, and not worrying so much about, is it perfect? Is it going to be my everything? Because that's where I get stumbled. Where I have the hardest times filling out sketchbooks, and I think a lot of artists can relate to this. Of like, I would have this weird quirk of mine where I would not want to draw on the first page of the sketchbook. I always kept it blank. It was because I was so fearful that if I like started it off wrong or had like a crappy drawing at the beginning, that it would ruin the sketchbook. So I wouldn't draw on the first page. It's weird. All right. There's the start of it. Here's Awesome One's dream. I was working in some weird resort. Some workers were talking about some awful band switched to a giant buzzsaw blade chopping heads off, and all the heads are singing. Whoa. That sounds like, it sounds kind of like it's related to the movie we were watching on Sean's channel with that lady's like disembodied head. Closed my eyes in the dream that a man shot a guy dressed as Satan. That guy turns into a man whose face was covered in a leather mask. I woke up and was like, what the heck? That's right. What did you eat the night? Was it chicken the night before? I mean, oh my gosh. Sounds like something did not settle well with your stomach. I blame the movie you watched from some. Yeah, same. Yeah, it sounds exactly where it came from. Confetti is sometimes inspiration for the next cover. That's perfect. I love that. Let's see. This is a Generics Duck soundtrack. Is it? Oh, I changed it. Oh, I actually didn't have it on repeat, so I've got a few little options here. We'll see. Rocky, you should play music from the Fat Rat in the back. Oh, right. You're the one who reminded me, or who opened me up to Fat Rat. I should. How do you do that on YouTube? Do you just download it? Yeah, how do you do that? Rocky, don't read. Whoa, sorry. Whoops. Attack the paper, make it bleed ink. That's a good motto. I love that. He should play the Fat Rat. Thank you, though. You're too kind. No, man. You're an inspiration. Definitely. Just love it. Is there music license, though? Fat Rat, I think it's okay. From what I remember reading, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's copyright free. Rocky is a little obsessive. I feel that. Yep. I think so. I think it runs in my family. I think it runs in my blood. I think we're all kind of on some sort of spectrum. All of us are. It's just as we get older, hopefully we learn how to, like, you know, use that to our advantage. I remember watching a... Let me make sure. I think I started that wrong. There is a woman who is autistic. Her name is Temple Grandin. I have had many conversations with Shant about her because he loves her, and I think he's seen her in person too. They did a whole movie about her life starring Clara Danes, which was really excellent. I recommend. I believe it was produced by HBO. So if you guys can locate it, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie, really, really good movie. And it's about Temple Grandin and her life. And she was this autistic woman. And she was born in I want to say she was born in the 60s, probably. The 50s or the 60s. But so at that time, they really didn't have any research much about people who were on the spectrum or that had autism. And so what they wanted to do, because she was so she wasn't social and she had all these quirks and things that she struggled with at home at home and at school, in her home life and her school, they wanted to stick her in like a mental institute, and her mother refused to let that happen. And so a lot of this story has to do with Temple Grandin's own relationship with her mom and what her mom did for her, but it focuses on Temple Grandin's life predominantly. But so she went through life like people thinking she's weird and a freak, and she had just a handful of people who recognized that despite all the challenges and the learning problems that she had, that she was a very, very smart person, and that she observed life in a totally different way than everybody else did. And when they started putting two and two together of like how her brain was observing life, they were like, oh my gosh, this girl is a genius. And so she had this one teacher who kind of took her under his wing, and he helped her through school, like through college. And as she graduated from college, she got a job working, observing cattle and like the slaughtering process of cattle. And at the time, like they just had one way of doing it, and they had this whole process of how they slaughtered cows, and she just kept saying like, this is so inhumane. Why would you do it this way? There's a better way to do this. And it's really fascinating because the whole time she goes through this process, like they kind of give you a snapshot of how her brain works and how she's like thinking of things. And she starts figuring out a better way, a more humane way to slaughter these cows pretty much. And her point being is like, it's not inhumane in the sense that like, oh, okay, then she's just going to become a vegetarian and not kill cows or whatever. She's like, no, this is kind of the cycle of life, and we get food from the cows, but they also deserve some dignity of how they die, and not like, you know, stressing them down and causing so much anxiety for them. Like you can do it a lot more peacefully. And so she built this whole system of how to more humanely kill these cows. That sounds horrible, but they portray it really well. And she kind of revolutionized the whole slaughter industry or cattling industry. And it was because her brain worked so different from everybody else. So anyway, I recommend the movie. She's given many talks, and like she's given, I'm sure you can see presentations of her that she's given. I think she's spoken at like Google or whatever. And one of the things I remember her saying was like, she was talking to a room full of super geniuses, like Google programmers, people in the tech industry. And she's like, I'm pretty sure all of you guys are on the spectrum, just like I am, you know, but you've just figured out how to make it work for you and also make a lot of money because of it. And it's true. So yeah, we're all weird. We just got to figure out how to make it work for us and find our right place. All right. Whew, got through that hurdle of the under the bed perspective springs or whatever they are. I still got another one to do, but let me just finish up these bars here. Is there music licensed? Awesome as we'll find out. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is what started that conversation. My brothers and I definitely are. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, like people who you know, have these like their brain works a certain way and like really hyper focused on details or like how things work or whatever. They can really use it to your advantage in other aspects. Ex-friend used to go on and on about being on whatever number of mental spectrums. I now have skepticism about all of it because of them as well. Yeah, I think so. I think we know too much now, and so everybody's quick to just diagnose it and either medicate it or like put somebody in a box because of it. But I think everybody always, you know, has these, or everybody's dealing with something, some sort of anxiety or some sort of mental quirk or whatever. We're all different. Brains are all wired differently. It's just how it affects. Not to say that some people don't really struggle, because I know it's real for sure. But yeah, I think most of us like have our own anxieties, and that manifests in different ways. Cow whisperer, totally. She was totally a cow whisperer. I actually remember watching a movie about this girl in school once. Yeah, she's amazing. I like cows. They're tasty. Me too. And God bless her for not like turning it into like, let's shut it all down. No, she was like, nope, they, you know, they're it's an industry, and it's like we use them for food, and they're here to serve us in that way, but like we can do this better. It's like she just saw a system she saw was broken, and she was like, we can do it better. And the way that they portrayed it in the movie and communicated that in the movie, like both giving us a snapshot of her brain and how it works, was really brilliant. So it's great film. I was all into the Enneagrams, was just about to go deeper when an expert said it's impossible to know who you are in a chart of identity explanations. Yeah. I read a book. I just finished reading a book about Enneagrams, and I think at the end of it, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm this and this is it. It was just kind of like, oh, it just gave me a little bit more understanding of like, oh, okay, so people are wired differently, and this is what happens when they are anxious. This is what happens when they feel secure, and these are their tendencies there. So I think it helped me like understand myself a little bit better. But yeah, as far as like the labels, that's where it gets really like, oh, please. I'm like 95% sure I have Asperger's. My therapist gave me a book to read on an autistic boy's life, and I have like Almost every symptom and life experience, I understand autistic people. There you go. They understand things too well. The world is fake. Social interactions in general are based upon deception and lies. Yeah, it's true. And they even touched on that for Temple Grandin, because it's like, there's certain social cues that she couldn't pick up on, and or subtle things that, like you said, they're either based on like deception or you know like an undercurrent, and she saw everything at very face value. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Autism is a superpower for sure. Yeah, it's like you might have I don't want to say deficiency, but like you might not be able to function similarly. A certain part of your brain might have less developed, or doesn't work in a certain way that is quote unquote normal. But then usually when that happens with people who are on the spectrum, or people who are diagnosed on the spectrum or autistic, another part of their brain, like Temple Grandin, is like super powered, jacked up. Like that's where all the cells went when they were developed as a child, and they can do things that are like beyond comprehension. So it's pretty amazing. I ignore most people and think they are boring in person. Yeah, they're all like super geniuses. It's true. It's like a lot of people with autism, they have like they can have like photographic memories, or be hyper creative. Or I remember there's this one art, I've seen artists like this a lot. I mean, I know that's not just one, but there was this one artist that I saw, I think it was a documentary on, who he had a photographic memory, and I believe he was autistic. And they would take him up in a helicopter, and then he would just take a ride, and then he would land, ride like around the city to see the city. And then he would land, and then he would draw on a sheet of paper everything he saw. But the amazing thing was, like, it was in perfect, like, I'm sitting in a helicopter wide angle lens perspective. So it was like bowed out like a fisheye lens. And it was all exactly how it was, how he observed it. And he just saw it once, which was unbelievable. So yeah, that kind of stuff is not, my brain couldn't do that. And then yet I think, and I could be totally wrong, I might be making this up, but I think like he couldn't speak or something like that. Like he couldn't communicate verbally, but he could do this visually. So that verbal part of his brain didn't totally develop, but the visual part and the memory, oh my gosh, like went off the charts. All right, so that bar connects with this bar. It's funny. I was watching the previous stream of this drawing. You guys were calling it the soup can, his gun, the soup can. And I was like, I didn't understand what it was. I was like, what's soup can? And then you explained it. And then I look at this drawing. It literally looks like a can just like on the top of his gun that he used as a silencer. But Comrade Sammy, I'll look up that Fat Rat. That would be cool, because I think some of that music, like all the like free music that I find, like that I have right now saved up for loops, isn't that great? So yeah, Fat Rat would be awesome. And then see, like yeah, I definitely drew this too big because I have no space here for these bars, but it's okay. I'll just kind of make this part up. Having a mental issue doesn't excuse you to behave badly or not to attempt fitting it. Yeah, no, I don't think it does. I believe we're all just wired different, and that there's really no need to develop labels to put on any of it. It's all superficial anyway. Yeah, I think people just they just do it to try and understand it, maybe, or like feel better about themselves. Or, I mean, we had some friends whose kids were struggling, had learning disabilities, and we were like, you should go get him checked and just see if there is a diagnosis of anything, because at least it gives you a sense of like, what you're dealing with, and you can like have maybe a little bit more understanding, because to them, oh yeah, see, I'm totally off these bars. Whoops. It's okay. We'll just fake that a little bit. At least they could like try and like get him the help that he needed, or like, assistance in certain areas that he was struggling in, and that it's not just him like cutting up in class, but it's like, he just has a hard time learning in that way. And so he needs a different way of learning the things he does. So I think that's probably where quote unquote labels or diagnosing something can be helpful. But yeah, when it's used against them or used to make somebody feel smaller or less than, then there's no point, right? I can't watch a movie again once I know plot. It's about 10 years again when I can watch the same movie. Are you talking about because I ruined the plot for you of Temple Grandin, or just in general? Let me think about that. Watch a movie again once I know the plot. I guess if it like spoils it before, if somebody tries to tell me the plot of a movie that I want to see before I've ever seen it, then yeah, it's hard for me to watch it. But if I already seen something and I want to see it again, then I have no problem seeing it. So, interesting. I've seen that helicopter guy. I think he was on a show that Stan Lee hosted on the History Channel. Oh, that's right. He did have a... Maybe that was it. Because I do remember Stan Lee had a show. Yeah, it made sense. It was like, the real superheroes or something like that. I don't think it lasted that long. But yeah. Then there was also another show I saw, which was not spun in a way that it was a superpower. It was like the weirdos. There was somebody who like ate chalk. I don't think that was the Stan Lee show, but like they had something missing in their chemical makeup that they really needed whatever it was to consume chalk, and they would eat like different kinds of chalk, and they just needed the chalk. I don't think it's calcium, but whatever's in the chalk. I think it was pica. Was it pica? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that was not couched, or that was not packaged like a superpower. Matter Eater Lad. Anybody remember that character? I believe labels are supposed to describe symptoms or characteristics, physical problems. The reason you don't have space there is because his head is more slanted to the right in the original, and you drew his face coming straight down. Yeah, I mean, I gave it a little bit of angle. It's bigger. Like, can you guys see the comparison? Oh, let me move it here. See, it's bigger for sure, so that took up some of the space. I did angle it a little bit, but it's a little bit wider and bigger. And one trick I did, and I recommend this whether you are trying to draw something even of your own, or in this case, I'm trying to do a master copy, is like turning stuff upside down, because then you start seeing things from a totally different, like this looks like there's certain things I'm like, wow, that's way off. Like this head is way different than that original head. It's way wider, right? But it wasn't that obvious to me the other way around. Maybe it was obvious to everybody else, but when I see it upside down, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so different. I mean, I could still adjust that head if I wanted to. But yeah, you can see how this hand is way bigger. The head is bigger. When I turn that thing upside down. This head is still bigger, but I'm not going to change that again because I've already changed it. But it's kind of cool. I mean, you can do this digitally. It's also like when you flip your artwork, we would do that all the time. You draw something, and the way your eye sees the page is a certain way. But then when you flip it or reverse it, then it like, oh, you can see how things are like off symmetry, or yeah, just totally different. I think also it's because, and I noticed this before, like this is at a slight angle. This book is at a slight angle this way. I'm drawing at a slight angle this way, and that also distorts things in my eye. Because like when I pull it up here, I'm like, oh yeah, that does look wider. But when it's laying down like this, I'm like, it doesn't look that much wider. So weird. All these little things. I remember Matter Eater Lad, underutilized. Yeah, he was funny. He was kind of this like, I felt like they like came up with his power and like that would be cool, but then they didn't know how to use him without him just being weird in any of the stories they created. Weird. My Strange Addictions. Yes, I think that was the show. Emo Trash. I think you're right. Making all men learn like women cause the hindrance to education, especially the sit down and don't use your hands classes being removed. I just had this conversation with somebody about like, what were we talking? Oh, we were talking about camping, and I never grew up camping. My parents were not campers by any means. We never lived out in the countryside or anything like that. We lived, most of my childhood was in suburbia, but even in cities and stuff. And now in my adult life, I've always lived in cities. And so is my wife. And so, you know, our kids are not really that outdoorsy. We're not the camping kind of family because we never had that modeled to us. And yeah, we're just very much city folk. So, but there's something. So I was talking to a friend who went camping recently with. He has 3 boys, and he was just saying how they loved it so much. And they grew up in the city. They're young, way younger, but they're growing up in a very densely populated city, and they just loved it. And I told him, I said, I feel like I kind of gypped my kids a little bit because they don't have a desire to really go camping or, you know, be uncomfortable in the wilderness or like go to bed out in a tent. Like they don't really want to. That just sounds like really horrible to them, like really uncomfortable, really, really cold. And, but there's so much fun and beauty in that I feel like they're missing out on. And because I didn't have it modeled to me, I wasn't able to really model it to them. But he was saying his sons loved it so much that they were just like dirty all the time, and they had just like they would roast s'mores, and they just had bits of chocolate on their faces and just dirt on their hands, and they just loved being dirty. And you know, I think there's something to that. You learn something about just being adventurous and trying, you know, getting dirty, not worrying so much about cleanliness and like purelling your hands and, you know, whatever kind of diseases or like cuts or bruises you might get. It's just like, well, you know, this is life. And I feel those kind of things you learn as a kid, those experiences you have as a kid, translate to your adult life and how you approach the world. So, you know, if you get attacked by a bear, I don't know, that's such an extreme case, but if you are cold or whatever, you can deal with, or, you know, you're not always in a comfortable bed at like perfect temperature with all the blankets you need and a clean room all the time. And you kind of have to learn to rough it a little bit. That like teaches you something, gives you a little bit of skin and helps you to be more adventurous in life. And yeah, so it was just interesting to hear him say that because his kids are growing up in a city environment, and he's just seeing how much they enjoy being adventurous, being out there in the wild, and you know, being carefree. And I think it'll serve them well as they continue to grow up in the city. Wood shop and metal shop. Yeah, I had to do. I had those classes when I was growing up in, I think it was Texas, because I moved around a lot as a kid, but I believe it was when I was in Texas that we had wood shop and metal shop. Did we have metal shop? I don't think we had metal shop. We had plastics. We dealt with like plastics, carving plastics, mold, like injection molding. And but my kids don't have that kind of classes here. I don't know why that is. I think like, is it like the trades are looked down upon, or I don't know, those skill sets are not valued enough anymore. We used to have a general contractor, and he was great. He was an Irish guy, really great. And he was he retired, but we were working with him right before he retired. And he said he was gonna, his next plans was he was moving back to Ireland and building a house there, and living off the land with his boys and blah blah blah. Wait, I think I got this person. I'm forcing this perspective too much. Dagnabbit. This is the hardest thing to draw. Perspective is very hard. And yeah, it was like he was saying, yeah, I'm building my own. He was asking me what I did, and I was like, oh, I was working in animation at the time, and he's like, oh, that's so amazing, like what you can do and like create this thing. I said, you know what? I think it's cooler what you do, because in the apocalypse, I couldn't really help anybody or my family, but you could. You could kind of go off the grid and like survive and build shelter. I wouldn't. I could draw something. I could tell you a good story. But yeah. I'm still pushing this perspective too hard. Dang it. If I were smart, I would set the right vanishing point and do it, but I'm a little lazy and I'm just like, I'll just eyeball it, but then I keep eyeballing it wrong, so. Yeah, way off. Stream you wanted isn't happening now, Rocky. Wait, what stream? What stream I wanted? It was wider and such, but it still looks cool. Thank you. My poor cat's trying to get the courage to go down to the living room, but he does. He'll probably wake the whole house up because the dog is down there. Oh boy. That's like a Tom and Jerry thing written to happen. When we were kids, my family would take us camping. It sucks and I hate it. So you are the example, Jason, you're the example of like, no, you were exposed to that and you still hated it. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's also personality type, I think, for sure. Once you go camping, Cranberry Landers says, once you go camping, they'll get to start wanting to go camping. Yeah. Staying up this late isn't healthy for you, Rock. I'm just looking out for you. What up, Sean, man? How you doing? I don't even know what you're doing up. No, I do know what you're doing up. You're always up. You are the king vampire of comics and YouTube streaming. How are you? I loved the Pizza Live yesterday. We had a good time on that one. That was a good movie. How do you pick your movies, Shantha? Is it just like, do you watch them before you pick them? Or do you just like pick them randomly? You can roast s'mores over a stove just fine. That's what I'm saying. I can eat a very good deconstructed s'more at like a 5-star restaurant too. You can blame Cranberry. Yes, it is Cranberry's fault. Shant is here, everyone. Say hello to the man, the legend. evening, technically morning. Yeah, it's still a reasonable hour for me, Sean. For you, not so much. It's a reasonable hour for me. Sean forgot to mention too, he's streaming right after this, right, Sean? Oh boy. Gosh. Okay, I gotta get this right so that I can. All right. Let's just call that as a good reference point there. And then, yeah, that means my vanishing point is way down here. I'm not going to even bother with a true vanishing point because I don't think ZECK did. I'm just going to guess. For those of you guys who caught my Wednesday stream where I interviewed Adam Lawson, if you follow him, he's at Comic-Con right now, which is really cool. Like, every time I see people post about Comic-Con every year, I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not there because it just seems so hectic and crazy, and it's just a hassle just to go these days to Comic-Con. It has been for a while now. But every time I see people post, I'm just like, oh man, I wish I was there. I wish I was seeing all the cool things. And do you guys remember we were talking about the Absolute Batman? The Nick Dragotta one? Like, I saw some more images they released of it, and it just looks cool. The thick Batman, the dude with who Emo Trash said is eating cake. It looks cool. It looks really cool. I really like Nick Dragotta's work, so I know there's a bit of controversy around it just because they were like, that's not Batman. He's not Batman. I think the story is it's not Batman as we know it. It's like an Elseworlds Batman or whatever you want to call it, a non-canon Batman. So they might as well have just like made him a totally different character, I guess. Like, why call it Batman? But it looks cool. He's not like a rich billionaire anymore. He's like I think he's like a construction worker or something like that. He's like jacked up. That's why his legs are so thick. And Alfred's like ex-military. He like rides a motorbike. All right, there. That feels a little bit better. Well, no, actually, now that I look at it in the computer screen, I'm still off. Yeah, I'm still tilting it too much, people. Ooh. Yeah. That is going to be bad. Wow. Strike 3. So I think I should just stare at the computer screen and get the angle. The angle's like here. Sort of. Even more. Yeah. Well, that's annoying. Okay, this is it. I'm getting this right here. I blame Sean for my nightmare. Yeah, Sean, awesome one, had a crazy nightmare about a disembodied head. I can live without camping. Emo Trash says, whole reason we've currently got the pup because people are currently in hospital from bites due to living in a tent for at least a week. Oh, geez. That sounds bad. Yeah, there's like stuff in camping that's not the greatest, you know, like Lyme disease, let's say, for one of it. Like, I always hear about Lyme disease. And I know people that have gotten Lyme disease from like tick bites. That's not cool. You don't get that in the city. And I think the people that I know that got Lyme disease were like city folk who decided, hey, I want to try camping. So that's or even people that go skiing. Like my kids don't ski. We never expose them to skiing, and we know people that like love skiing, and they take their kids up every time it's ski season because we're close. You know, they could drive to like Tahoe, which is beautiful skiing. But one of her friends came back and like broke their leg, or two of her friends like screwed up their legs because they were skiing. And I don't want to do that. I like my legs. I like walking. That's not worth it. Oops. Didn't like Sonny from Sonny and Cher, Sonny Bono, didn't he die from like hitting a tree while he was skiing? See, already I can feel like the waxiness of this blue. I'm going to have to switch to red in a second here. The waxy of this blue, because I've erased it so many times, is already messing things up. We had wood shop, metal shop, the car. Oh, car shop. That would be great. There was a private, used to be an all boys school here in the city. It has now since gone co-ed, but it used to be all boys school as of maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they had a automotive class that kids had to take, which I thought was cool. And they also had a barbecue one, I think, which I thought was awesome. All practical skills. All right, don't get too carried away at that angle. I'm switching to the red. Blue is giving me bad juju here. I also noticed when I watched the previous drawing stream or master study stream, you guys were right. You couldn't really hear the fan as much as I thought you could on my computer. So that was good to know. And I give credit to this mic because I know in the other mic I was using, man, the fan was super loud. All right, I think I'm just going to call it. I know this isn't totally right, but I'm tired of redrawing this so much. Know when to quit. Know when to call it. You guys are up too late. It's nearly 2 a.m. Cherish Psalms. I love how everybody who comes in on these streams are pointing fingers at everybody else, even though they themselves are up. So that's okay, Cherish Psalms. You're here, which we're happy about. Welcome. You guys all run in the same kind of pack. Late nighters, late night YouTubers always showing up. Hey, Emo, go to sleep. We really just waiting for John to fill out the East Coast. That's right. John would be the like royal flush of late night YouTubers if he showed up. Oh, Brown Recluse. Oh my gosh, you should talk to Shanth about Brown Recluse. He had them at his house in Chattanooga. He was the first one to tell me about the Brown Recluse spider, and I was so freaked out after he told me the story of that he had seen them in his house. Or I think he came close to like picking one up or something. I don't know what the story was, but yeah, it was scary. I don't know if I should let this video make me draw. I don't know. Why not? Why not? John is busy being a baller. You did not pop in here just to lecture me. You guys. Someone jumping in there. Oh my gosh. None of you go back to it. I give you all permission to stay awake. Have a sip of coffee. Join in the fun. Pull out your sketchbooks. We just got back from a short trip to the craft store Michael's. Just stopped in there. They're having 50% off on a bunch of their sketchbooks. Go get a sketchbook. Join in. Why not? Oops. I feel like I made some of these too wide. It's all right. I'm not worrying about it. Maybe I will include the word balloons after all, because then it'll cover up all my bad perspective on this section. There we go. Close enough. Close enough. I still janked out the... But actually, so funny. Looks so different from screen. As I look at it on the screen and I look at it on paper, it looks so different, that perspective. But it's okay. It'll be fine. Yeah, if I put a word balloon here and there, I'll cover it all up. When in doubt, black it out. In ancient times, Unhinged says, artists and craftsmen were the storytellers and keepers of story. We are very useful in critical thinking and passing down history to younger generations. I agree. It was such a... They were lauded and such a huge part of culture and passing along, yeah, the important things in culture when there wasn't books to do it, you know, and they had to do it verbally and then later on scrolls or whatever. So yeah, super important. Cherish Psalm says, I popped in here to be Baller and Sigma. You must go to sleep. Orders from the wolf pack. Well, you guys are talking in code now. Totally code. John is probably watching a Gothics video, chatting comments while he sleeps. Or he's having a dream about it. Who knows? No, I'm pretty sure John's asleep. Oh my gosh. That's yeah, I think so. We might circle back and catch him when he wakes up for his second shift. LamerCon. I pick movies that are in the public domain and that I haven't seen. Just stuff I think would be fun. Last stream just turned into a great night at Pizza Life plus Caprice Cagney. Yeah, that was a fun movie. It was I'm not familiar with that director. Did you say it was like Bernard I or something like that? I just caught you guys were already watching the movie when I jumped in, so I didn't catch the director on that. But yeah, it was really fun. And definitely the commentary was just cracking me up that whole night. So it's good times. Eating cake? We're talking about the bat. No, bro was caked up. There we go. But at least they explain it in his backstory that, he's a city worker, construction worker, and it wasn't just Bruce Wayne. Okay, so I got those, got this, got these bars. Let me draw these bars up here. Zaid Brothers talked about Cake Batman briefly. Did they like it or not like it? I really liked it. I think because I'm a fan of Nick Dragotta, I really liked it. What are you talking about? I don't know if it's Lyme disease, but one is currently at risk of losing at least a finger because it's literally... Oh, jeez. Oh, literally rotting off, according to what I'm told anyway. I have no direct line of info myself. Oh. From camping? Oh, man. This is why. This is why I never want to do it. I don't even want... There's so many things in life that can go wrong already. Why would I want to open my... Just so I can, like, take a whiff of fresh air? Or, like... Yeah, I don't know. What does that say about me? I'm very risk averse in that sense. So, I don't know. I don't want my fingers to rot off, though, just from a bug bite. They did talk about the alternate Batman, the Zaid brothers. So did Australian Shanthan Jetty. Oh, White Shanth. Bancroft did. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I love that guy's art. And the pages, the extra, like, they released an ash can at San Diego, which those are the kind of things that make me wish I was there at the con, like getting those kind of cool ash can things. Oh, I'll pull something out in 1 second. Let me just finish drawing these bars. One thing that I got while I was at a con a long time ago, but I just happened to be walking past a certain booth, and there's these people just handing out stuff, and they were like, "Hey, you want one of these?" And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I just took it, and as usual with Comic-Con, for those of you who have attended before, you go back to your hotel room or wherever you're staying, and you usually have like a pile of stuff that's like a combination of freebies and stuff you buy, but you just have a whole haul, and you don't usually have time to look at it or remember even what it is you got. So that's one of the fun parts about it. You go back to your you go back to your hotel room, and you just pull out all your swag and stuff, and just go through it and like go, "Oh yeah, this looks cool," or like, "What's this?" or all the free stuff that gets handed out. And yeah, so I looked at this one book, and I'm like, what is this? And yeah, I'll go get it. I just thought it was like, some guy's concept art or whatever, but it was proof of concept, I guess, pitch, what they put together for the pitch for the movie Oblivion, that at the time I didn't know was Tom Cruise. This is the Tom Cruise movie, and the Joseph Kosinski, the guy who did Tron and Tron Legacy and Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. It's a phenomenal director. But yeah, just this cool thing they were handing out for free, and it's so cool. I've never seen it anywhere else, and it was just at Comic-Con. It was really cool, and it was just like, wow. There's that cool bubble ship that they designed that ended up in the movie. Love it. Pretty cool, huh? So yeah, these are the kind of things that you just randomly can find or score at Comic-Con. And like I had mentioned last stream, I love ash cans. I love those kind of preview books like that one that I picked up that Adam Lawson did and Phil Diaz did. And they had one for people that attended the panel on Absolute Batman and all the other Absolutes storylines that they're going to do. And it had some sample pages from black and white sample pages of Nick Dragotta's work. And I was like, oh man, this is going to sell for a lot of money too. I'm not going to be able to get one of those. But that's okay. Have any of you guys been to Comic-Con? You guys, I know Shant has, but any of you guys in the chat been to Comic-Con before? It was speculated they were bitten by a brown. There we go. That dang spider, the brown recluse. But I have no way of telling if that's accurate. It sounds like if one of their fingers are rotting off, that does sound like what brown recluses are capable of. Yeah. Deer ticks can cause... Oh, really? I didn't know that. Ugh. Gosh. Yes, that's what I've heard about brown recluse. Had a coworker who had the diabetes. She noticed her dog chewing on... Awesome. What? That was not awesome at all. But I'm going to do this.
That's awesome.
Too quiet, sorry.
Yes, that's awesome.
That sounds gross. That is disgusting. So yeah, camping is probably never going to be... Yeah. Amen to that. They also had a ton of art classes in my school. Color theory, pottery, general, and advanced art classes. Awesome. Brown recluse will change the way your day is going. That is an understatement, my friend. That is an understatement. The understatement of the year. And thanks to you, I never knew they existed until you told me about them. And now I kind of wish I didn't know they existed. Or maybe it's good that they existed. I never liked spiders to begin with, but the fact that that kind of creepy bug has that kind of power to ruin your life. Yeah. It's frightening. Absolutely terrifying. Did I mention last I lived in a tent for about 2 years? No, you didn't. Cranberry Landers had brown recluses and hobo spiders all the time in our house. Tons of black widows and... Jeez Louise. What kind of house did you live in? Emo Trash said him and his wife were living in a tent due to mostly poor choices, so the sympathy is slightly limited from, but not completely void. Same uncle whose family I'd inherited the cat from back in 2022. Oh boy. Ooh. Well, I hope they'll be okay. Hire Aldous to judge your gutters, Rocky. Oh, I don't know. John went to sleep earlier than I did, unbelievably. No, John's only napping. Yeah, John doesn't sleep. He just naps for 5 to 7 hours at a time. Rocky, did I mention I lived in... Yes, just about 4 chats ago you did. Why did you live in a tent for 2 years, awesome one? That doesn't sound like a good idea. And you survived with all your fingers and toes intact? Yep. Just for sleep only. Was that your choice? Was it a conscious effort? Like you wanted to do it? You chose to do it? Or was like you had no choice to live in it? I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a great experience sleeping in a tent. I usually never slept that well. Even though now, like I said earlier, I can sleep pretty much anywhere, or I just conk out when I put my head down. But tents, yeah, they're just never been that comfortable. I know friends who like glamp and they have like these fancy tents, or they'll do like mobile home kind of. They're not really tents, but trailers or whatever, that are very nice. Those are supposed to be comfortable, but like a tent, and people say like air mattresses out in the tent. That stuff, I don't know, never works. Or I've never found something that was really comfortable. It's always about like waking up in the morning after you got only about collectively 45 minutes of sleep and being like, and waking up to the crisp air, morning air, something like that. I mean, it's nice. Not really. My wife, when it gets hot enough, she'll sleep with the windows open, just open with screens or whatever. And she's like, "Look, we're camping." That's her definition of camping, is opening the windows at night. Cherish Psalm says it would be real sus if I'm a guy with a rainbow and sunshine in my username. You never know. You never know. Exactly. The Sigma and the Alpha in your icon looks like a bit like a dude. We're figuring new things out here. Oh, Cranberry Landry says he's been to Emerald City Comic Con. I've heard good things about that one twice and a smaller one once. Awesome. I've heard good things about New York Comic Con too, because like, you know, that one's gotten bigger and bigger. San Diego Con was definitely the like mecca for Comic Cons. We used to have WonderCon here in the Bay Area, but that moved now to LA. And we also used to have a smaller, like they called it the Alternative Press Expo, or APE. I don't know what happened to APE, but that one was cool because you'd have like indie creators. It was a lot more intimate. It was a cool setting. They don't do that one anymore either. San Jose sometimes has cons. I've been to that one once or twice. Smaller. Sometimes they try and merge like tech with that too. But yeah, I haven't been to a con in a long time. I'd love to go back to one. I remember going to one. It was one of the Wonder Cons early on, before I'd ever gone to like San Diego. And it was like it was exactly what you would think a Comic Con would be. It was like in a hotel convention lobby, and it was just different floors, and you know, a few people were dressed up in cosplay, and you could actually meet artists and talk to them. It was cool. That's kind of the Comic-Con stuff that I love. I don't like being crammed in the masses with like I've heard people call them with all affection baby men, and just like with their like Comic-Con tubes, and nobody's wearing deodorant, and you're just like jammed in there and like trying to muscle your way to a certain presentation. That's not that fun. We actually used to have a table at Comic-Con, which was nice for our company. We would be selling like merchandise and things. So that was awesome because we'd get to go in early for setup, but at the same time we'd get to be in like the preview day, which was like Wednesday night. And so it wasn't as crowded. You got to meet people more intimately. You got to see things before everybody else did. That was awesome, but it was really expensive and hard to maintain. And then if you got located in a bum area of the con or the convention center, then like you could get overshadowed by the bigger studios, or nobody would be able to find you. So location was a huge thing. Cherish Psalms clearing it up. It is a dude, an anime dude from this game. Cranberry, you just gotta see the memes. Starting to fade, calling it a night. Awesome seeing you draw. Looks amazing. Great seeing y'all. El Chung's out. See you next time. See you later, buddy. Talk to you soon. Very soon, actually. I got Stan Lee to sign an Amazing Spider-Man #1 done by Umberto Ramos and Dan Slott. Both of them have their... Oh, wow. That's a keeper. Nice job. Stan Lee autograph. Man, I never got to meet Stan Lee in person. The artist that I did meet in person at cons. That's a good subject. I've met Kevin Nolan. Great artist. Super humble. When I met him, I was like, I kind of stumbled across him walking around a con. I don't even remember which con it was. And just ran. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it just kind of came out of me as we stopped at his booth. I was like, oh my gosh, you're Kevin Nolan. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Like, are you crazy? Like, you know who I am? And I'm like, yes, of course I know who you are. You're Kevin Nolan. And he's one of the greatest artists ever. Like, he's like one of those artists. I have one of his, I have his artist edition book that they put out recently of his work, which is phenomenal. But he was super nice, really friendly. I've met Dave Stevens in person, obviously before he passed away. Very nice. Met Jeff Darrow in person. Met Bruce Timm in person. He was not that nice, to be honest. But still incredible. I've met Arthur Adams in person. Met Mike Allred and his wife Laura Allred. They were super nice. Met Steve Skroke. I know there's a proper way to pronounce it, and I just forgot which one it was. He was great. It was like right before he hit it huge with working on The Matrix. And he was nice. He was selling originals too. And I really, really, really wish I picked up some of his originals at the time. But this was before I had a job, I think, when I met him. So I was like, it wasn't like I could afford it, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty affordable. Because he just had a whole stack of originals there. What other artists have I met at cons? A bunch of independent artists. But most of the big comic artists, like, I could either never meet them because they were too huge, or I don't remember meeting them. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Michael Golden, I didn't really meet him. I talked to him a little bit. Yeah, I guess I met him. But it wasn't like a good conversation. He's pretty introverted. So he kind of, like, in the setup of the convention table, he would sit way far receded back. So he wasn't, like, up front, like, talking to people. It was just kind of pulled away back in the corner. Peace Chung. Lived on the edge of some woods. Wow. I thought a brown recluse was a black homeless person. Dang. Oh my gosh. RVs and glamping isn't camping. Sure it is. RVs sound more safe than creatures. Yep, I believe it. And the temperatures and precipitation. Yep, same. Walks in the woods are nice. Camping is meh. That's right. There was one time my cousin, they had this whole thing in Yosemite where they took their kids out and they invited us to come. And at the time I didn't have any kids. And we went and it was like fun. They did s'mores, campfire. And then after it got dark and the mosquitoes came out, we're like, all right, see you guys later. And we went to our Airbnb. So we got the whole camping experience. We just didn't have to sleep in it. That's all. And then when they woke up in the morning, we met them, ate breakfast with them that they had cooked on the fire. So yeah, that was camping for us. There's also a possibility of the homeless people living in the woods. That could happen too, yeah. So I'm good. It was good. The line to get to Stanley was so full that they cordoned off like half the floor Stan was on as the floor was buckling. Wow. I mean, he is one of the greatest, right? So it's great that that happened for you and you were able to make it to the front of the line. There's just something about not having everything you want anytime and being at peace. I mean, there is for sure, being like unplugged and away from the rest of the world. I had a good friend who took some crazy long hike. Is it the Appalachian Trails? I'm not sure about. Maybe it was the Appalachian, but it was a crazy long hike backpacking down one of the coasts of whatever that major trail that you go that takes you like weeks to go, and he documented the whole thing and it sounded amazing, but it's not something I'm ever going to experience in my life because I would not choose to do that. But yeah, he just felt like so at peace and alive and just able to like center himself outside of the noise of the world. That's why I wanted a signature. I kind of hate Dan Slott now, but he wrote really good Spider-Man back then. I regret not having an original work for Stan to sign. It's okay. I mean, you got something. That's legendary. Shanth and Jetty Art says, I'm still mad about BT. Were you with me, Shanth, when that happened? Kind of devastated me a little bit, but we won't talk about that. Love how Rocky's in comic land and his ramblings to himself. I got chat half focused on my horror stories. Do you know why that is, Emo Trash? It's because of this. I'm not falling for it. I'm staying focused. Comics. Or in Awesome One's case, booty time, Sean. I don't know where that came. What's the deal with Bruce Timm? He's not the nicest guy. And that's not just to me. It was kind of his reputation. So he's like a curmudgeon a little bit. Whoops. I think it's just his personality. I don't think it has anything to do with not. It's just how he comes across. Anytime you see like caricatures, even caricatures he draws of himself, they're pretty like, he looks upset, curmudgeon-y. I actually have one of the hard to find Batman the Animated Series Art of books, which is amazing. Totally influential in my life. And I got him to sign it. Hold on, let me pull it out. It's kind of cool. that cool? So cool. This book is so good. It's actually really hard to find now. But it's chock full. I just poured over this book. It's one of the greatest. I think if Bruce Timm wasn't so dang good, I would have been more scarred by that meeting with him. But he is just so dang good. His work speaks of itself, for itself. But yeah, got his little cool signature on that. It's fun stuff. I've somewhat given up on drawing myself. Got frustrated, bored with it. Like just tonight, though, right? Not in general. Awesome one has a suggestion for you. Draw someone else beside yourself. Draw your hands. Just a bit of jerk to rock is what it is. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay, you heard about it. You weren't there. But we have been to a con, and I think it was that. It was either when we met Dave Stevens or Mike Allred that I was with you, Sean. I can't remember. What are you talking about? He is not a third rate Max Fleischer. Let me see if I can find. There's a drawing. It's not this one. I could have sworn in this book it has to be in this book. Man, this book is so good. I haven't looked at it in a long time. It's like part Kirby, part Toth. Oh, I did meet Lynn Naylor. And at the time, her husband, Chris Riccardi, who unfortunately passed away, but Lynn Naylor was the artist that Bruce Timm brought in to figure out how to draw women. Because he couldn't, I mean, I think he draws women phenomenally, but when he was starting off Batman, he just couldn't figure out how to draw women. So he hired Lynn Naylor because she could. And yeah, I've met her. She was really shy, really sheepish, but such a good artist. I'm trying to find. He did like. This is a hilarious image that Bruce Timm did. It's basically like he took everything that standards and practices would deny or like block for them putting into the show, and he put it all in this image. So it was like guns, alcohol, nudity, kids in danger, crashing through windows, references to the cross, religious references, drugs. It's an awesome image. Yeah, I could have sworn he did a caricature of himself, a self-caricature. Maybe it wasn't in this book. But it's just this kind of like pissed off looking self-drawing. Oh well. Rocky has all the cool stuff. I've got too much stuff for sure. I drew a sketch card while enjoying this great content. Awesome. There we go. There we go. Putting good stuff into the world. Rocky is secretly a huge producer in Cali, I'm sure. No, not quite. Not quite. Are you going to do a video on your channel later, Jason? I have to go to bed soon. You're all crazy. This is all you, man. You're the ones who started it. Jason, did you draw Cake Batman? Crazy. We're still in the rookie hours. Emo Trash has caught her third wind. She's ready to go. Got to step up, Cranberry. Oh, wow. I caught up. I caught up. Yay. Jason drew a sketch card. I'm almost done with this page as far as semi-tight rough pencils. I don't know. I don't think I need to do a pencil. I mean, these are pretty tight. I can ink over these. I think I'm just going to go with inks off of this as opposed to doing like black and white pencils. I think that'll just like stiffen it up even more. That I'm not going to draw the hair on his chest until I get to the ink phase. And then for this, like the zipatone he did, I don't think I'm going to do any of that. I'll just skip that when it gets to it. I've never used actual zipatone, like cutting it out and placing it. I should try and learn that because it's a cool technique and it looks really cool when it's done right. But yeah, I haven't ever done that, like cutting it out, like frisket. But we are almost there, guys. Look at that. For a Friday/Saturday stream, we got stuff done. This one's going to be a fun one to ink. I'm super excited. So what I ordered was, everybody talks about the Rolls Royces of brushes. The Winsor Newton Series 7, specifically number 2 brush I got. I ordered a new one for myself. Ordered some ink. Watched a lot of YouTube videos about what inks, like actual India ink people recommended. So I got a couple different versions or different brands of ink there. Got Kohinoor. I think it's called Ultra Draw ink. I saw a few people recommend that, like Richard Friend, who he's at Comic-Con right now. If you guys know Richard Friend's work, he's an amazing artist and inker. He inked Travis Charest. He inked a lot of the Wildstorm guys. He's just super good, and he's coming out with his own book, crowdfunded book. I don't know when, but he says it's coming out soon, called Blaster Kid. And from some of the artwork he shared from it, it looks amazing. And I love his YouTube videos. He has such a great personality, and he's so knowledgeable about comics and comic art, and just loves it. So yeah, check out Richard's channel. But he's at Comic-Con right now, and he also recommended that ink, the Kohinoor Ultra Draw ink. Sandra Hope, who is an inker for Wildstorm, Jim Lee and all that, she also recommended that ink, so I'm trying that out. I also ordered a new lead pencil, the Staedtler, the one that you sharpen with the little sharpener that you spin. I ordered one of those. I used to have one of those, but I couldn't find it anymore, so that. And I got some white ink already. I've got some Hunt 108 nibs. So if you want to go some nib inking, I think I'm going to favor a lot traditional brush inking though, because I love the look of that line, of a brush line. I'm not so much of a nib kind of thing, but I can see how some subjects would inking with a nib would be better. So I'm open to it, but I definitely love the like brush inked line, and especially since seeing the Dave Stevens exhibit in person, seeing those inks, oh my gosh, like that just makes me cry how good those inks are. And that was actually one fun thing that on the Panders Brothers podcast. They talked about meeting Dave Stevens because he was also producing, while Matt Wagner was producing Grendel at Comico, Dave Stevens was doing Rocketeer. And Comico at the time was the only company that was giving creators, allowing creators to maintain the rights of their projects. So Matt Wagner was producing Grendel and Mage. He did those both at Comico. And then Dave Stevens was doing Rocketeer. And in an amazing, fortuitous events, they kept the rights to those characters. And that's what gave those artists like all the power and all the reward for their own creations. So, and at the time that wasn't the norm. So when the Panders brothers were working on Grendel, they got to meet Dave Stevens, and he saw one cover that they did. I think it was for issue 4 of the Grendel series they were doing. And he said, I have to ink that page. And they're like, huh? Like they were in awe of Dave Stevens. So they're like, what are you talking about? And then he disappeared. They tell the story. He disappeared, and then he came back. He's like, okay, I'm inking that page for the cover. And so he ended up inking it, and it was so beautiful, his line on it. And they said that was the moment that they realized, like, he was basically telling them, you guys need to learn how to ink with a brush because your work will be so much better once you do that. And so they did. After that point, they started inking with a brush. So I feel like that's the route I want to go with my own work, is to try and favor, or not favor, but I want to be like a brush inker more so than like a nib inker. But I don't know. We'll see. That might get old, or I might suck at it. So yeah, you never know. But I think it kind of the stuff I like to do, it kind of lends itself to it. So we'll see. That's what I'm going to try at least. But then I also bought a pack of, the other thing I bought was a pack of Pitt pens for like fine lines and yeah, more like border panels and fine line stuff. Like these lines, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing with the Pitt pens. So yeah, that'll be cool. Hunt 102 is my weapon of choice. I break them on the regular. There you go. Yeah, I did ink with 102s in college a long time, when I would do comic stuff in college, and a brush. But I do have, and I actually found some my 102s that I have not even used yet. Like literally the nibs are still new in the box from college. I don't know if they're metal, so I can't imagine they got bad or they didn't expire. So yeah, I still have those. I still have my I think I packed it away. But I still have my like holders from college too. I'm going to use some of those. If you get to know me more, you'll realize I'm kind of sentimental, or pretty sentimental, and I tend to hold on to things. Like I have like t-shirts, old t-shirts that I loved that are like 30 years old, and they're like falling apart, but I'll just hold on to them till they like run out of threads. And I'm kind of like that with my supplies a little bit. But in this new day and era, I said, I'm going to treat myself to new supplies, stock up on some new stuff for this new adventure, and see how it goes. Cranberry Lander says, the Rocky Ballesteros comic book streaming system. I started and encouraged it. There you go. However, starting and encouraging things doesn't mean it's my fault. I'm the victim here. Wait a minute. Jason works look great. I think Shant inks with a brush, if I recall. Yeah, Shant is so good with a brush. He's inked with everything, right, Shant? But yeah, he's really good with a brush. I remember there was a whole period of time where Shant was only inking with a brush, and he would do sample pages of inks, like inking over sample pencils and stuff like that in a brush and with a brush, and it was so amazing. All right, let's see. That's good. Can't wait to see this inked. I'm off to bed. Check you later. Have a great night. Thanks, Jason. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for the encouragement. And yeah, can't wait to show you this getting inked. It'll be exciting. It'll be exciting, or it'll be like I'm going to dump ink on top of this in the middle of the stream and cry myself. But, you know, I'm going to think positive thoughts. Don't worry, you can burn stuff and not even go to jail. You might even get invited to the White House. Oh, boy. Yep. Hey, Jeremy Burtz, what's up? Swinging in here. Also part of the late night crew. What's up? Maybe Jeremy and Unhinged Jason are the same person because Jason just left. They just switched hats. Thanks for joining us. I'm working on a master study of a Mike ZECK page, Punisher page here. Just finishing up the rough pencils, and then next step we'll be taking this to inks. So stay tuned whenever I do, I guess, part 3 of this master study. I'll be in the inking phase. Who knows how long that'll take? I think it'll take me a little bit longer because I haven't practiced inking in a long time. So it's going to take me a little bit to get used to stuff. But that will be coming soon. I can guess that maybe I'll have probably 2 inking streams, I'm guessing. Similar to having like 2 penciling streams for this. But I also already have in mind some pages, other pages of other artists that I want to do master studies to. So I don't want to, I definitely want to take the time to learn and work on these pages and give them due time, but I also don't want to overthink about it and just start getting into a rhythm of busting out, you know, pages, a lot of these pages as I go. I'm thinking I might want to do, there is like a Mobius page that I've looked at recently. I was like, oh, that would be a cool one to study, but we're talking Mobius, so I don't know if that would be wise. And I think I also would approach, like, I'm pretty sure that page was inked with a nib. And I think I'd still want to try and ink that with a brush. But, yeah, so there's that I thought it would be a good example of one. There's a couple Frank Miller pages I would love to break down. Definitely Darwin Cook. I was looking and I was like, oh, that would be really cool to try and work on a Darwin Cook page. Cranberry Langer says, I have to leave too. I have to study Japanese and Espanol after all of these threats from Awesome One, Comrade Sammy, and Emo Trash. All right, Cranberry, take care. You are a studying machine, though. It's like the Bible one night, now these different languages. You are a learning machine. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up and just even asking me today. I appreciate your comments, but even asking me in the comments, like, are you streaming today? Because in my mind, it made me think like, oh, somebody's actually wondering that. They would wonder if I would stream today. So yeah, it put the idea in my brain, and then things kind of fell in line, and then here we are. So thank you so much, man. I'll see you around. Have a good night. Threats. They're more like friendly reminders. Yes. Stay gold, Cranberry Langers. Friendly threats. Great stream. Thank you. Emo passed out, we win. Don't have Shanth movie nightmares or do and tell us about lengthy details. All in good fun. I mean, how many times, I can't imagine between Streams. The number of streams I see you guys in, similar people I see in The Faithful, is astounding to me. Like, you guys must cross paths with each other. How many times a week? Like 5 times a week? 8 times a week? I mean, in one day, yeah, it must be more than 8 times a week. Because in one day, I see you guys in like 2 or 3 streams with some of the similar people. And I can barely even catch one stream, let alone 2 or 3 in a day. Live stream, you know. Sometimes I watch videos, but catching a stream and like staying around to chat with people, that rarely. I can't do more than 1 a day or so. But you guys, some of you guys are like in so many streams all together. It's crazy. It's fun too. It's like there's some continuity there. You're not always having to like restart and go, "Oh, who's this person?" Actually, there's some live streams. I'm sure some of you guys do this too. There's some live streams that I'll pop in and I'll see who's in the chat. And if I don't recognize anybody, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to be a stranger. Unless I really, really, really want to watch that stream, or it's like a subject matter that's super engaging for me. But a lot of times you come into a stream, like, for example, going into Pizza Live last night. If I didn't know Shanth and I didn't know anybody in the chat, I probably wouldn't stick around. But because I knew so many of you guys who were in the chat, and obviously because I know Shanth, it just made it so much fun, and it really made me want to do it. So that's the fun part about YouTube chats and how they work and the friendships you make. It's really fun. All right. Okay, those bars, these bars. Looking at that. I can tell this panel is already too short, but it doesn't matter. Cherished Psalm says, I cross paths with them too much, unfortunately. Definitely not 8. You mean that as like that's too many or not enough? that answer can go both ways. I'm also in many smaller nerdrotic channels and don't see many CG people I know in them. Okay. But you probably see like a lot of people overlap in those that maybe not CG people, but other people that you know. I was a stranger everywhere until John invited me into almost all of them. Yeah, John's definitely connected to, has been a connector in a lot of these channels for me as well. So I can see that for sure. He'd be the one to ask, like, how many different streams do you go to in a week? I'm really curious. Emo Trash, I'm y'all's problem now and it's his fault. You're welcome. There we go. Comrade Zema says, Emo Trash, same. I didn't talk to anyone till John. Aw, John. There we go, Comrade Sammy. I don't think I gave you one today. John creates many bridges with people. Yeah, he's good like that. He is a gatherer / connector. Emo Trash, we love having you as our problem. For sure. For sure. Okay. Well, I am close to wrapping up. Let me just double check everything here. Make sure I hit it. Let me sharpen my pencils too. I gotta move my sharpener close by. It's not, I mean, it's not that far, but I gotta get up and do it. Oops. And I just broke my sharpener. Yeah, I need to move that closer to this setup now. I'm glad the setup's working. Camera's working better. Audio is working better. That's cool. I'm all about reusing old equipment. Oops. Getting the most out of old equipment, especially when you spend so much money on that old equipment. I'm glad I can get multiple uses out of it. The computer I'm streaming off right now, we've had for I want to say 5 years, probably. At least 5 years. And it was just sitting around for a good year by itself, or not doing anything for a year. So glad I was able to give it another use. All right, so we got those gunshots. We got the inks on this page are so good. It's funny because this inker, John Beatty, is really good on ZECK stuff. I've seen him ink. He also inked Michael Golden, who is he's another one. He's actually a little bit scary for me to try and do a master page of. I love Golden. One of my favorites. Top 5, if not top 3 artist for me. But his pages scare me because a lot of what Golden does just so naturally is how he draws technical things like vehicles or buildings and in proper perspective and exaggerates them in an incredible way. So yeah, I'm not good at that stuff, and I can sketch it out, but to like take it to finish would really be difficult. So maybe that is a good reason to try and do a master study of his work. But I would try and get some of his pages from like the G.I. Joe yearbook #2 that he did. I have the artist edition or the artist portfolio of that, and it's beautiful, beautiful. So it would be easy for me to pick a page out of that, but it would be a very difficult page. Whichever page I picked would be a very difficult page. Oh yeah. So how I got on that subject was John Beatty, who is the inker on ZECK in this book. He inked Michael Golden on some issues of the NAM that Michael Golden illustrated, and I actually didn't like his inks that much on Michael Golden. They're almost too clean, too perfect, which was really weird because I would think how he inks ZECK would work really well on Golden. But I love that you don't see it that much in modern day comics because a lot of artists are working digitally now, and they tend to do their own inks because they're working digitally. Or even if they're not working digitally, a lot of artists tend to do their own inks. So that combination and how that combination works, like you think of Jack Kirby, he's had so many different inkers, but we all have certain inkers that we love on Jack Kirby, and we all know of inkers that we didn't like on Jack Kirby. As an example. So similarly, like that combination and finding the right combination between penciler and inker is really fascinating, and it's almost an art that we don't see that much anymore. Very rarely do you see that like, oh, penciler inker combo that like really sings. It was like Frank Miller and Klaus Johnson on Dark Knight Returns was like a great pairing. And John Beatty and Mike ZECK I thought is a great pairing. A hunter-gatherer. Quit already, Awesome One says. You mean, am I overworking it? Is that what you're saying? LOI, it's about to be 3 in the East Coast time. Okay, yeah. Oh, shoot. It's already midnight here. Yeah, it is 3 in the East Coast time. Where Lucky went but I haven't heard any barking, so I guess wherever he keeps his, yeah. Oh, your dog. Okay. No, I should. I'm going to wrap it up because it's quite late for everybody. Everybody, no matter what coast you're on, it is quite late. But I appreciate all you guys hanging in here. Please hit that like if you enjoyed this. I really like this whole idea of master studies. It's given me the right drive to draw on stream, which was such a hang up for me before now. So I'm happy about that. It's getting a little bit more comfortable and enjoyable, which is always the point. And then I feel like something cool will come out of it too. So that's nice. It'll be nice to have, even though it's not my original creation or original drawings, it will be my original art that will end up on this board, and that'll be cool to see. I think that'll motivate me even more to work on my own stuff once I see a finished piece of art, even if it's a master copy of somebody else's stuff. So all good all around. Oh, I didn't even figure out these toes. Shot. You are such an instigator, man. Shot don't care. You don't care about your weak sleeping needs. He always rubs it in my face too. I can never win with this guy, no matter what. Unless I move to a, I gotta move to a time zone that is ahead of him. But I'm always at a disadvantage when it comes to time zones with Sean. Man, this, yeah, ooh, this hair is gonna, I think I'm gonna have to do this hair with either a pen or a nib. Because all these kind of squigglies, this would be very difficult to do with a brush for sure. Oh yeah, and I didn't decide whether or not I'm going to add in the word balloons. I feel like I should. Well, if I do, I won't do it now. I'll think about it. But I feel like I should. I mean, I can also ink them on a separate, like they used to, ink them on a separate piece of vellum or something and then paste them on. That sounds crazy, but kind of cool too. I will have to say, like, I am so enjoying drawing traditionally right now over trying to do this digitally. Like, there ain't no shortcuts here, guys. There's no like copy, paste, scale, duplicate, layer, rotate. There's no shortcuts. You just got to figure it out and like wrestle the page to the ground a little bit. And also know where to, you know, where to call it, where to accept the failure or the imperfections and kind of embrace them as opposed to like, you know, easily change them. I think it makes you more decisive working traditionally because you don't have 1,000 infinite options. You just have like, is it gonna get done or not? So I think that this is training a different part of my brain where I'm so used to the Control Z undo, infinite undos, scaling, copy, paste, flip, draw a line, fix the line, draw the line again, fix the line. Like none of that is happening here. It's all just like, well, all right, gotta erase it, draw it again. Or that looks bad, but it's gotta do. Or Yeah, it's kind of cool. That did turn out. So yeah, that's been fun. Can't wait to do this on my own stuff. We'll get there. We'll get there. I am writing a script right now. I mean, not right now, but in this era, I'm writing a script. Started. No time zone is safe. And here comes to hand the baton off is Katie, because she's just starting her day. What's up, Katie? Good to see you. There you go. I got to move to the UK to beat Shant as far as time zones. That's what I got to do. I got to go where Katie is. Oh, man. Thanks for coming in. Shant is doing an androgynous dress for John, I'm sure. Androidfinous. Oh my gosh. Guess we ain't the only ones up. Just got a notification from Leon's channel. I don't even know who Leon is. See, I don't know these people that stream this hour because I don't normally do it. So, oh my gosh. Ruined Leon, the one that pops in Gothic's chat most of the time. Oh, cool. We love the undo and color job. I know there's certain things about there's definitely certain things about digital that make the process and I'm sure once I get to the point of like the production printing process, way easier. The lettering process and all that, yeah, for sure. But I am all for getting back to the basics and the tactile aspect of creating art. The real deal, holding it in your hands, one of a kind originals. That's why Shant is such an inspiration, like with his painted comic Nosfero. I mean, come on, like painting, like there, you can't digital. I mean, you can, but like he's got paintings for each of his pages, each of his panels. They are paintings like that. That it don't get any more real than that. So yeah, and I so this makes me appreciate the craft of creating comics so much more. It becomes less a like disposable medium and more like an art form. And I talk a lot about I've had many conversations with Frank at Amazing Fantasy about this. Like he says, like even as quote unquote like the top artists, not quote unquote, but like the top artists today that are working at like Marvel and DC or whatever, most of those guys, if not all of them, are digital dudes. And he's like, it's just not the same. Like they've got all the lens flares and the beautiful, perspective digitally referenced with 3D models and the colors that look photorealistic and blah blah blah. They got all those tools at their hands, but at the end of the day, like there's something missing or something like lacking in the artwork. And you just have to go back and look at the masters and look at the people that were like doing it this way, and just why do we still like go back to these stories, and why do these stories still resonate with us? And this is just a blanket statement. It's not everybody, right? There's definitely a lot of artists, modern day artists that I love that work all digital are incredible, but in general, you just go back and look at these masters who had to do it this way, and you just appreciate so much their work. All right, he's all bruised up with the blues and reds. I'm sure I'll figure out more of this cloth when I get to the inks. Some beautiful line work here on the folds. That'll be really fun to figure out in the inking phase. I mentioned this too when I started this page. Like, I think him going to the edge of the page is throwing me off a little bit too with the proportions of stuff, or where things should stop and end. Because I was trying to go to the safe side, or the safe frame. Katie says, I do like traditional art. You can't beat it, really. You can't. And I mean, that's why I cherish the like original pieces I have now that I've started. Some of the, I don't have that many, but the ones that I do, I just like, I just stand and stare at them some days. Like when I walk into my office and I'm just like, these are so beautiful. And they're one of a kind. They're right here. And like, they didn't hit undo when they were drawing these. Watching someone hold a pencil is very inspirational. I have seen some. This is kind of a jerky thing to say, though. I have seen some people do art streams or whatever, and you know their hands are in frame, and I'm like, that is a weird way that you are holding that pencil. Like, I've seen some people like with some like gnarled grips. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. You guys should. I've mentioned his stream a number of times, but you guys should watch Daniel Warren Johnson draw. He's another guy that's just like he literally and figuratively, is that right? Gets his hands dirty when he is drawing, and he can tell he's just figuring stuff out as he's drawing it, as he's inking it. He'll just kind of hit it, and he's just really messy, and he uses these some non-conventional tools to make his marks. It's beautiful to watch. It's really fun to watch, and then it just comes across in the finished product. You can see it, you can feel it. It's a lot more real and tactile. That. I love all these like neck muscle shadows that ZECK figured out here. It makes a simple silhouette of somebody's chin and face look so amazing and dimensional with all these anatomy things he figured out. Umotress says, I lean more towards digital for sake of not really having any space to keep... I relate to that. To keep projects for supplies. Digital makes that less of an issue for my current circumstances. Yeah, no, I totally relate to that. Even the sheer mess of it. Like, I can't imagine what's going to happen once I pull out ink in this room. I can't imagine what's going to happen. I was actually at Daiso today. I don't know if you guys know that store. It's like a Japanese like tchotchke store, really affordable, super cheap, just homeware, anything. They actually have anything there. But so I was looking there for like containers that I could hold my ink in, because I've seen a lot of people talk about finding the right container where that's weighted enough for you when you're inking, so that it doesn't tip over, you don't knock it over accidentally, that they have lids and all this kind of stuff. So I was there today trying to find some affordable containers to do. I got a couple options, but I can't imagine the mess I'm going to create once I start inking. I'm a little scared. I have been known to like accidentally dump ink. I know that's part of the process, but that would really not be cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna probably photocopy this page for the inking process, because I would hate for this book to get ruined by me dumping ink on it accidentally. But yeah, I relate to that emo trash. It's like sometimes you just can't pull out the whole, well, I know Shant can, but you can't pull out all the paints and the whatever. Sometimes you just gotta rely on the strengths of digital, and you got all the tools in the tool bag, and you're just turning on your computer or your iPad or whatever. Right, that. Oh, that's gonna be tricky. Feels like this is gonna be. Oh, I'm gonna mess that up. This will probably be inked by a pencil pen here. Shant says, when I finished painting Nosferatu, Miss Ingetti said, I bet you don't want to paint another comic page for a while. I had just started working. Anytime something says anything rational or reasonable to Shant, he's usually doing the opposite thing. So, yeah, I bet you she said that because she knew you were already painting the other one, the second issue. She knows you well enough that that was not a question. She already knew the answer to that question. I'm excited for that second book, dude. It's going to be awesome. Everything that you learned on the first book is just going to come into play even better. Just got to keep growing, keep learning, keep doing it. It's going to get better and better and better and better and better. I can't remember who it was. I think it was like a Oscar. Somebody at the Oscars gave some speech. Gosh, who was it? He was basically saying, if I could have a conversation with me when I was a kid that just said, you're not going to see it now, but just keep going, keep doing it, keep working, keep going. Because one day you were going to be on stage accepting an Oscar for whatever it was they did. They said, I know it doesn't seem like now, but you just got to keep doing it. You're going to keep getting better and better and better and better and better. So that's what we're doing. Chair Psalms, I must go to bed now. All right, good night, Chair Psalms. Yeah, we're going to pack it up here in a bit. I'm not going to be here much longer myself. But I'm very excited with how this page is turning out. I got to finish the last tightening on it, but I'm super excited with this turned out. So thank you for being here, and thanks for coming. Peace, Psalms, night Psalms, all good words. See you guys, or see you, Chair Psalms. My pencil art book suggests drawing. Hold the pencil almost flat with a sharp long lead. Oh yeah, like this. Yep, could do that. Emo Trash says Rocky needs baby proof. Yep. Believe me, I do. Shant's wedding vows were, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked. I feel so sad for Mrs. Ingetti. Because I could say, oh, hey, dude, I got to go, okay? I'll talk to you later. I can do that. She can't do that. She can't do that. She's crying on the inside. Shant, I can't wait for the day that we see each other again in person. And then we'll have to like stream in person together. That would be super fun. Oh, I should have given you the link to come in here. Oh man, sorry, dude. Definitely next time I will. Usually you pop in and then I don't hear as much, but I think because we're in the like wee hours of the night, you're awake. You're really awake. So I should have given you the chat, but next time for sure I want to get you coming in here. But then you're going to distract me. Then I won't be able to draw. You're going to throw curveballs at me. That's what you do. You taunt me. Taunt me with your jokes. We got that. We got these bars, shadows. Am I missing anything? You guys see anything I'm missing? There's probably a few places here, like I can see in this line here. I probably will have to hit that with a white line. I got some white jelly pen line pens that I will probably use for stuff like that to go back in and get lines. That'll be fun to try out. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, see, I made him too big because I can't even see his pants, and you can see his pants over here. Oh, well, that's okay. I tended to do stuff like that. Like if I would storyboard a sequence, I tended to board it like it seemed right when I was storyboarding, but then when you'd blow it up for the screen and then you'd see it on screen, you're like, wow, the character's really huge on frame. I could have dialed that back by like 20%. So that's kind of my natural tendency, is a little bit to scale up. Weird. Might steal that idea for your wedding, Sean's vows. You cannot. Is your wife a vixen on top of a lighthouse? Nice. Beautiful, beautiful reference. Awesome one.
Yes, that's awesome.
Emo Trash says, no distraction is my job here. Right? Right? All right, cool. Am I missing anything? Love this guy's hair. Definitely going to have to like hit this shadow properly once I get to the ink phase. It's a pretty important part of the composition. It's a little harder to work out here in rough pencils. But it's pretty crucial to see that it's his shadow. Especially with these like dreads silhouettes here. And then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to include word bubbles. I'll have to sleep on it and figure out when I wake up if that's a good idea or not. Yeah. Yep. I love this dude's face. Yep. Bars here. Bars here. Man, this is a lot of work. Comics are a lot of work. And I'm just copying a dude's page. These silhouettes here. All right. I think I'm good, guys. What in the heck? John.
He goes, what's your name? He goes, John.
John, what in the heck? I thought it was a fantasy that you would show up. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Amazing. Amazing. The chat ninja wakes up because John's here. Amazing. You were right. Wow, John. That was epic. An epic arrival. I'm so impressed. I'm we're about to wrap up here, but like if you rewatch this stream, you'll see how much at the beginning we were talking about you and everyone's like, no, John's asleep, blah blah, and Emo Trash was like, he's not sleeping, he's just napping. He's gonna be awake again. And it kept coming up. We're like, John, oh yeah, he must be asleep, blah blah. He's on this time. Like she's like, no, he's gonna wake up again. We might catch him. And here you are. So that is amazing. And I'm so happy to see you. Morning, John. That's right. What is it? 3:30 in the morning? Oh my gosh. Bar worker. I didn't think the stream was gonna go this long. My wife was like, what do you, when I started it, I was like, oh, I'll probably just do an hour or something. At tops too. But I think it's been longer than that. So really good to see you, John. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good nap. John, man, that's awesome. Everybody's saying hello to John. That's right. That's right. Must be love. John is the best. So good to see you. You were right. Shoot me the link after you wrap up for a video call. Oh, geez, man. Can you get on top of all this? Oh, boy. Emo wins? Emo wins. She wins, man. Emo wins. Yeah, John, that's Emo's soundbite that she got. Today was the debut of it. So you did it. I did somebody else's too. I won't, they're not here, so I won't, you guys can guess, but I won't play it until they show up. Not in this stream, but in the future stream. So yeah. All right, well that's where we are. Here we go. I think I got everything. I don't think I missed anything, at least not. I mean, I'm going to be inking it next, so I will catch anything that I did miss, but nothing major that I was hoping to work out today I missed. I think I got it all in there. And it was incredibly fun to do this. So one, I'm super excited to see where this page ends up once we start inking. And two, like when I see these lines, these thick and thin lines, these ink lines, oh, they just make me like salivate of how much I can't wait to do that. So, and then there's going to be some cool things to figure out here. Like they've got like a white dry brush streak here. That'll be so fun to try and replicate. And hard. And that's why I love these artist editions, because you can see a lot of that stuff because the scans are so good. So yeah, like this kind of stuff with a brush is going to be so great, so fun. The folds and all that's going to be really good. Really good. But yeah, I think I got what I need to get in this phase. And next will be ink. So I think a lot of my supplies are supposed to arrive tomorrow. I will probably start that inking. I'll probably do that stream sometime next week. In the next week or so, I'll hit it. And it'll be fun. It'll be a good one to try out. Oh, I guess this hand wasn't really worked out. A little bit. I'm trying to cheat it to fit it on frame. Awesome one wins too. How is that emo sound effect? Sounds like it's actually a train. Yep. She's got it. Tonight has been incredibly productive. It has, for on different in different ways. It's been productive. It's been productive on the page, been productive with Emo Trash's sound, been productive in people showing up, John going to sleep and waking up again. All sorts of productivity. All right. Let's call it. Let's call it. We're there. Thank you, everybody who showed up. Who showed up. Wow, look at my hair. Holy moly. That's not productive. Thank you, everybody who showed up and joined me in this little adventure to get this page. Look how cool that looks on frame at this size, because it's like everything kind of condenses and the colors get a little tighter at this size. That's so cool. I love that. If this was my comic, I'd print it just like that. Screw the inks. This would go in the artist edition. That looks so cool. Yeah, thanks to everybody that showed up and just have been supportive. It was John, I know you missed this story because you were asleep, but Cranberry Langer sent me a message earlier today, a comment, and he was just saying, hey, are you streaming today? And I said, oh, I don't think I am, because I already streamed on Wednesday. And then also, if you didn't notice, this camera, I got a new camera set up for my drawing computer setup here. So it looks way better. So I really wanted to try that out. And all the little tech things that I ordered came today for this setup to work. So once I got that, I was like, oh, I could stream. And then I was really excited about how this page was progressing. And I wanted to tighten it up and finish it up today. And I'm like, that would be cool to stream. So then all the chips kind of fell in place, and then I threw the stream together. So here we are, and now we got a done, finished pencil page here. Super exciting. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for encouraging and just keeping me company as we did this. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you get some rest. Yeah, the stream is Cranberry's fault. I could have just summarized that. Katie says, glad I got to see some of it. It was great to watch. Awesome, Katie. I'm glad. I'm glad that the late time zone worked out for the early day for you. So you're about to jump into your day. I'm about to crash in mine, and as many of you are. But it's been super fun, and we will keep doing these more. Master studies are here to stay. This will be a fun one. And then the question is, what do I do with these originals once I'm done? Maybe they can be like a giveaway, or like when this stream starts monetizing, maybe they can be something to be sold on a store. How about that? A master study from the first stream. I don't know. That'd be cool. But I think that the whole idea of making something that is physical and you can hold it, that's the key right there for me. That just fills up my creative tank big time. All right. I think that's it. So thanks everybody for coming, and especially for John for coming in the 13th hour and just brightening everybody's day with your presence. I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I will see you around next week sometime. Have a good weekend, and keep reading comics. Keep making each other laugh, and we will see you again soon. Take care.